It's the Kyle Hyman Show on Redeemer Radio.
This is Kyle Hyman, and join us to talk about our homes and how we can maybe be more intentional about the way we decorate, the way we operate in our homes is Noelle Mering. Thanks for being here, Noelle.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This book, Theology of Home, Finding the Eternal in the Everyday, I feel like this year, more than the past couple of years, has been the year of pretty Catholic books. This is definitely up there in the top of the prettiest Catholic books that I've seen in a long time. Why do you think this is happening right now, that people are making good-looking books these days?
Well, I'm hoping it's a recognition that we are Catholics, so we are incarnational people. We like to see things embodied. And I think particularly women really like to see what life looks like. And another, for other women, for myself, like I remember growing up and thinking, what does it look like to be a woman? And, the role models were like the supermodels or, movie stars but certainly that's such a thin, limited view of womanhood. But I think it's also just a recognition that we want to unite the tangibles with the intangibles. So we want to, this life that we're living, we want it to be beautiful and, in a deeper way. But the stuff matters too, right? Like, so we care about these things. And I think I'm hoping it's a recognition that the womanly way is important. And, we deeply, deeply care about beauty. So, yeah, I think it's a movement towards that and acknowledgement of that. So I hope it keeps going.
Well, and I think, making a book that looks good, but also making a home that's very intentional is really centered as part of this book. And I like how it kind of opens up talking about these different types of cultural references to home, different songs, different movies, even baseball you're trying to get home, and all these different examples. Yeah. Do you think it's like a universal desire that we have toward a home that everybody can relate to?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that there's a reason why people have written songs about going home, and so many movies, and Odysseus always trying to get home, and I think that there's that. It's a universal longing, which means it's also a universal access point. So we talk in the book about how as it's a force of evangelism, because we can't. The language of the church can seem so foreign to someone who's not in the church, but the language of the home is universal. So, having our homes be places that are opening and welcoming to other people, where they can really enter into like the intimacy of family life, and with all of its struggles and messes and striving, but there's a real beauty there, right? The rambunctiousness and the just the full of life, that most Catholic families experience. So. But we have to have fostered good things in our homes in order for them to be, warm and welcoming and influential. So we have to really kind of be rooting ourselves in what makes family life and our home life orderly and comforting and, warm and honest, and where we can really be known and be welcomed and loved deeply in order for those things to come through to other people too.
Do you differentiate between the word home and the word house?
I do. I mean, I think house sounds like the structure, right? And home sounds like a sort of a deeper, more intangible thing. I mean, I talk about actually in the book, when I first realized I was going to marry my husband was when I started to feel like he was my home. And I think that's a common experience where people identify a person as home at some point. Mm-hmm. It's a signifier, I think, that the deeper meaning of home is really about belonging in relationship. And so that's a signifier, too, that ultimately, we are in our relationship with God. We find our home in Him, and it's a foretaste of what heaven will be like.
So, but this book particularly is talking more about the literal building and kind of how you might get more out of it and be more intentional about things, or is that just a metaphor or a way of talking about the less physical things?
I think it's kind of both. I mean, it's certainly not like a how to design your home book, although we've fallen in a lot of decorating categories. We could be categorized that way because there's a lot of visuals, and we hope people get inspiration and stuff. No, I think it's more about how the tangibles connect us to the intangibles. So,
Okay.
why are family dinners important, and why has the neglect? What does the neglect of them culturally signify? Movement away from the family dinner table kind of signified a movement away just from family in general. But they have to be together, right? Like it's not just that we're supposed to think about having a family dinner or just shout at each other across the room. Like we have to actually put the plates on the table, and we should put candles out and try to make it special somewhat. We don't have to be breaking out the china or something every night, but to really intentionally be making that special involves all those physical things and all those tangibles. So I think that it's a uniting of the two.
Is this something that you have always had in the back of your head, this intentionality, or is it something that's kind of evolved over time?
Well, I've always been really into, when I was 7 years old, I was moving my bedroom furniture around and trying to redecorate my room, and I've always loved that. And I think a lot of women have. I think that's just a very natural thing. But yeah, when we first got our first house, I remember looking on YouTube to how to hardwire new lamp fixtures. I think women are resourceful. We had no budget. So I was just scour Craigslist. And I think, the point is we can do a lot with a little too. And so the book is not supposed to be, materially aspirational, but rather just that, I think that it's rare to find a woman who just thinks of her house purely pragmatically and doesn't kind of want a beautiful, special personal space.
The book also talks about the home, not just how you might view it as a family and interact with the things as a family, but also that it can be a place of evangelization. How does that work?
Yeah. Well, kind of like our lives are not really just about ourselves. I don't think our homes should be just about ourselves either. So we, as Catholics, are not meant to be insular. We're supposed to go out and, spread the faith and spread love. And how do we do that? And it's tricky because, people don't want to feel like they're being, sold something. And so my approach has kind of always been, I have a lot of friends who aren't Catholic, and I love them dearly, and I don't approach that friendship like it's contingent upon them converting so much as I just approach it as I love you and you love me. We're just going to be friends no matter what, whether you convert or not. So that means you have to invite them into your life and let them really know you, know your faults, know your struggles, really know you in an honest way. And I think our homes are a great place to do that because you really know someone when you see them in their home life, right? When you see the chaos or you see whatever and the mess. And so, yeah, I think that just it's a sense of bringing people into our homes is bringing them into our true life and letting them see, that there's crucifixes here and everything is just part of their life. It's just all natural. It's not performative. It's just, this is who I am. Who are you? And let's, try to get to know each other. And Carrie talks about in the book about when she was a single woman and there's this family that really kind of adopted her and would have her over for Sunday dinners every week. And it was really a beautiful experience for her of seeing, they would say prayers together and she would, with the children, and she just craved it so much. And it was, as a young adult, it kind of modeled for her, okay, this is what I want to build into my own life. But it really took being in their family and being in their home regularly to really experience that and see what that really could be.
Mm-hmm. We're talking with Noelle Mering. The book is Theology of Home, Finding the Eternal in the Everyday. Also co-wrote, you mentioned Carrie Gress and Megan Schreiber were also co-authors in this book. Lots of amazing, really cool pictures. And one of the things I thought maybe we'd just kind of break down one of the concepts in here. And like one of them is light and the role that light plays in our homes. Could you kind of give a few examples of the way you see the theology of the home playing out in light?
Sure. Well, it's just one of those beautiful transcendentals. It's so richly symbolic. So, one of the most basic just visual things that people want in their home is to have beautiful light, either natural daylight or have it be well lit. But it's also such a symbol for, light in medieval times was a real symbol for truth and for the light of the intellect, and, casting out the darkness. But also, I love the idea of light sort of like dancing on water, or the idea of light being sort of a lightness versus a heaviness. So I really think like Catholic homes, there's a real need for them to be full of cheer and joyful, and not, I think that culture has an idea that we are sort of an oppressive, dark, maybe somber, super serious life. And that's really a disconnect from my experience with my community of Catholic friends. And, I think that the Catholic faith is one of great and deep joy. And so being able to laugh at the little things, to have a big family and have inside jokes and memories, and these things are a real light to the culture. How to really intentionally be fostering those in our families and in our home life, super crucial.
Mm-hmm. So people can check out the book, but also the website theologyofhome.com has all kinds of resources and this daily blog and stuff. What are some of the things that are available on the website?
So on the website, you can subscribe. We just it's for free, and we send you one email a day with 8 to 10 curated links, half of which are about, building up the faith and sort of formation. And the other half are just really fun, like or how to organize, or how to, design inspiration or fashion or beauty or interesting news stories. So we scour the internet and just provide a curated group of links. And we have some original content too. We peek into women's homes, and they share with how they, do a special room or special corner. So yeah, we keep it really fun. And we also have an Instagram. So theologyofhome.com is the site.
And I think all of this can be a little intimidated. Some people are natural at this and they're great at it and they love it and they invest all this time. But there's others that say, how much is this going to cost, either financially or with my time? And I know in our house, like we've got stacks of pictures waiting to get hung, but we can't decide where to hang them. And it's just something we haven't gotten around to yet. So how much of this do we actually have to invest time and money into it? How much of it is maybe just like more of a way of thought, not just something that we have to invest in?
Yeah, certainly I don't think it should be something that if someone's not super inclined to doing it, that they should feel like, oh my gosh, I have to have like this designed up house. It's always been something that was so fun for me. So I just made it work no matter, even when we were dirt poor, I just would figure it out. But yeah, I think it's more being intentional to some degree. So even if it's like getting the kids and cutting some flowers from the yard, or, finding some branches or something and letting them create a little arrangement for the dinner table. I think just small things like that, even helping them to be a little bit more orderly, or instilling a little bit more order where we can. But baby steps. I mean, certainly this should not be any inducement to discouragement for anyone, or that would be the last thing we would want to have come out as a result, for sure. So, I think more just inspiration of what little things can we do to make this special for the sake of the people, because really it's about the people. Our homes are for the people in them, not the reverse. We're not for the sake of the house. So if we're screaming at everyone trying to have an orderly home, then we failed, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, where should we send people besides theologyofhome.com? Where else can people get the book or find more information?
Yeah, so on our website, or the book is also available at Handbooks and on Amazon.
All right. Again, Theology of Home, Finding the Eternal in the Everyday. Thank you so much, Noelle, for sharing this with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Cal.